Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. Another one of my shorter videos that we're doing for the Christmas season that, trying to get them out more regularly, not necessarily as long, and just see how we go over the Christmas season. Now, we've had a request for hot chocolate powder. This is something that I normally make in bulk in winter, but Apollo has been drinking it most nights of an evening. He was drinking coffee, which he's 15, but we did suggest that perhaps it was not the best thing to be drinking of an evening, so hot chocolate is what he's been going for, and that's fine, except that we've run out. So I make my hot chocolate powder. I make it with coconut milk powder because until recently the kids were predominantly dairy free. We have started introducing bits and pieces of dairy into their diets, and they have been tolerating them fairly well. However, the things that are simple to remain dairy free, we do because we can, and it means that we're not overloading their systems. So to make it a little bit more special, we're going to make our hot chocolate powder, but I'm also going to make some marshmallow fluff. So they really like to have marshmallows in their hot chocolate, and of course they do, because who doesn't love a marshmallow in their hot chocolate? However, making actual marshmallows, whilst I can, there's a little bit of faffing about, and it doesn't matter because they're throwing it in a hot chocolate to melt, so it doesn't need to have that much sort of texture. It doesn't need to be as fluffy and things like that. So what I tend to do is just make marshmallow fluff, basically, and then we set it and we cut it, and they use that as the marshmallow for their hot chocolates. So it's a super simple recipe. It doesn't always work because ambient temperatures and all sorts of things play a part in it, but it always whips up into something that can be used to put on top of hot chocolate, even if it's scooped on instead of setting. Though I've never had it not set. I just had it set kind of dense and less fluffy. It's more of chewy, almost like a marshmallow jelly rather than a marshmallow fluff, puff type thing, but still works perfectly to be dissolved in hot chocolates, because that's all you're looking for, is something that you can put on the top that sweetens the hot chocolate and is just kind of fancy, especially for the Christmas season. So the whole point of doing all of this in the lead up to Christmas is having lots of these sort of special things in that month lead up to Christmas, so that we're not trying to cram it all into just Christmas week, and we get to enjoy it because it's spread out. That's the goal here in the end. So I've got a kettle boiling because we're going to start with some boiling water to go with the gelatin, and I'm just going to pull everything out that I need, and while that's boiling, for all the stuff that I'm doing. All right, so we've got a boiled kettle, and all we're going to do is put a cup of hot water in the bottom. Now, I probably can double this recipe. I think I'll give it a go. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of room in this size KitchenAid for it. So we'll do 2 cups of hot water. We will do 5 tablespoons of 5 or 6. I think I'm just going to do 5 heaped ones because I'm using Australian. I think I'm using, no, it's an American, so might do 6. So 6 tablespoons of gelatin. I just use this Australian gelatin. It's a good price, so that's what I use. We're just going to mix that up a little bit. All right, now we're going to put it on our mixer. Just turn it so you can see on the mixer with the whisk attachment. And I'm just going to whisk that on low just to get that gelatin as dissolved as possible. And then all we're going to do is we're going to add the same amount of maple syrup and just whisk it on high. That's it. So we've got super hot here. We're adding cold maple syrup, which is going to bring the temperature down, because normally when you make marshmallows you have to heat things up and then you have to let them cool. So instead what we're doing is we're turning the temperature down by adding the maple syrup. So 1. 2. And that's going to mix for like 10 minutes. So we'll just push that back. Probably could do with a tea towel over it to stop the splatter. And we're just going to let that go. All right, so while that's happening, I don't know how loud that's going to be, but while that's happening, we will do our hot chocolate powder. So we're going to start off with some raw sugar, and we're going to pour that into the Thermomix and grind it up into basically icing sugar. It's a little bit more coarse than store-bought icing sugar, but it's still icing sugar-esque. Because when you, like most things, when you're making a mix, a powder, a spice mix or something like that, you want everything to be as much the same texture as possible so that when you're using it, it doesn't settle into different layers of texture. So we're going to bring the scales up, and we're going to start off with 400 grams of sugar. Now, everyone's tastes are going to vary a little bit in sweetness and flavor and things like that. This is what I found works the best for how the kids like it. So now we're just going to grind this up, speed 10 for about 30 seconds. And it's gone into a bit of a powder, which is why there's dust going everywhere. Now I know why I don't normally do a double batch in that. It is splattering everywhere. Anyway, so we've got 400 grams of sugar turned into basically icing sugar. From that point, we're going to put some cocoa in, and we're going to put about 200 grams of that in. Which is about what was left in that container. I'm going to quickly mix that together as well. So that we've got it all combined. Loosely, like that. Then we're going to add our coconut milk powder. Now, I buy coconut milk powder in bulk by the 15 kilo bag. And we're going to put about the 400 grams of that in there as well. So I've got a scoop inside my big bag. And then we add some starch. Now, I actually prefer potato starch, and I bought myself a bag, but I cannot seem to locate it. Cornstarch will do very similar. It'll create a little bit of thickness to it. It'll stop it from clumping up as badly in the jar when you're storing it, things like that. So we're going to put 100 grams of that in there. All right, and then we're just going to blend it back together. Oh, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt. We want a good sort of 3 big pinches of salt in there. And then we're going to mix it together again. We will scrape down the edges. And this is sort of the max for the Thermomix, which is why I do this amount. And then all I'm going to do is it's all uniformly textured. So now we're going to put it in the jar, the very empty hot chocolate mix jar. My KitchenAid overheated too, so I've had to turn it off for the moment. So I might have to clean a Thermomix bowl, and it probably wasn't a good idea to double the batch. I should have just done a single, but we will make it work. So I'm going to get this into a jar, and then I'm going to have a look at the KitchenAid, and we'll make a decision what we're doing there. But that is the process of it. It works too, but you know, most people aren't in an outdoor kitchen that's 37 degrees. So, you know, they have a little bit better luck with some of their appliances. So I'm making a mess here too. There we go. So we will just give this a good sort of a fold, make sure that everything is uniformly mixed, and then we go. We have hot chocolate powder done for Apollo, and let me assess the marshmallows. I think I'm going to call it there. My Thermomix is definitely struggling. We've got lots of air in there, nowhere near as much as I would like, but plenty. Again, I shouldn't have done the double batch. That's what it comes down to, because it's a little more than I want for this pan too, by the looks of it. If it overflows the paper towel, it could be messy. The baking paper. I sprinkled the baking paper with a bit of cornstarch to help with sticking, but baking paper tends to peel off things pretty quick. There is plenty of air in it for this purpose. This will not be a nice bouncy marshmallow, I don't imagine. But it is setting up, if you see, it is setting up nicely. It tastes amazing because it's maple syrup, and it will be perfect for the purpose that we've done it for. So this is marshmallow fluff. So I'm going to put a cover over this and let this sit at room temperature to cool. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll bring you back later tonight to show you a hot chocolate that we make up with this and the marshmallow fluff if it's set up. Though it's pretty hot, it might not set up, but this video will end up being pretty short. I don't know whether it'll be too short to use, so we will see how we go with that, and I will clean up. And yeah, so simple maple marshmallow fluff. Had a few, you know, it hasn't quite worked as well as it could, but this, I'll show it to you. It'll still be perfectly perfect for what we're using it for. It's not marshmallow though, it's marshmallow fluff more than anything. So I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to clean up. Alright, so we had a fail with the marshmallows. The double batch, obviously my KitchenAid couldn't cope with, but it's also, today it's 37 degrees. So this had separated into more of a jelly and a froth mix, but even now it's 37 degrees, so it has gone back into a liquid. What I am going to try and do is whip it in the Thermomix with the butterfly. If I cannot get it to whip, this will go in the fridge and we'll use it as a maple drizzle for something that I'm cooking. It's basically maple syrup and water. That's and gelatin. It's, you know, it'll set up somewhat in the fridge regardless. It'll be some sort of a jelly type thing, so we will use it regardless. If I can't get this to whip up, I will attempt to make another batch, but I'll do a single batch so I can do it on camera, and I will do it tomorrow because the weather is supposed to be a little bit cooler. But for the moment, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into the Thermomix, and we're going to whip it up with the butterfly and see if we can get it doing something. All right, so we let it go for 9.5 minutes, and we've got this really good volume. So let's see if it'll set up. It's still not very thick, but it is so hot, and there's no way of me getting it to like the liquid to chill. So we're going to give this a go. We're just going to pour it all out, and I'm going to throw it straight in the fridge, and we'll see if it sets up to usable for hot chocolate. As I said, the consistency isn't a massive issue for melting in hot chocolate, and even if it sets up into that jelly-like consistency, realistically it's still going to do the same thing. It's just not going to have the same novelty factor as if it was a marshmallow. But lessons learned, double batch doesn't work in the KitchenAid, and this heat does not agree with marshmallows. So I'm going to throw this straight in the fridge. I'm not going to put a cover on it because I want it to create a skin, and I'll bring you back. All right, so the re-whipping it worked. We've got actual marshmallow. Now, as I said, this isn't the super fluffy, soft marshmallow. This is a fairly dense marshmallow because it's just marshmallow fluff, because it's purely for using with hot chocolate. So it will dissolve in the hot chocolate like marshmallow and do the same sort of a sensation of marshmallow, and you can eat it straight, but when I cut it open, you'll see that it sort of is dense. So I've just put a little bit of cornstarch over it just to help it not stick to the knife, and we're just going to cut it into some little chunks to be used. Now, it still did separate a little bit in certain points. There's a little bit of the gelatin here, but it's going to melt the same way anyway. So we have the bouncy marshmallow fluff in cubes, basically. And yeah, some of it has a little bit of the jelly mix, the jelly on the bottom, but most of it has set up nicely into these little slabs. And those little bits of gelatin are still going to melt into the hot chocolate, and they're still going to be sweet.
They look good like that.
They look good like that, and so yeah, okay, I've done it. I did it on purpose to have it layered, so it'll still melt into the hot chocolate. It'll still be sweet, and the added gelatin of the whole purpose is that the added gelatin in what they're eating is a good thing too. So we'll pop it in the top of a hot chocolate,
You gotta do the taste test.
and we'll pop it into hot chocolate and show you how it dissolves. But it's maple marshmallow. It's going to taste good.
I wanted to do the taste test.
Sonnet said there had to be a taste test done, but that was just meant that she wanted to taste test it. So all the children are hanging around like flies. So I will cut it all up and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag with a bit of cornstarch to stop it from sticking to itself, and the kids can use it for however long it lasts. But we'll show you how it melts. Alrighty, so we have our homemade hot chocolate powder. We're going to add a dash of coconut cream for the kids. Did you put some in there?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Stir it up. And then we'll place a marshmallow in the top, and it will dissolve nicely in there. You can already, I'll move the camera, I'll see if I can get, you can already see that it's starting to all dissolve around the outside edges, so it dissolves really nicely into it, that marshmallow froth on top, which is what we're looking for. That's, as I said, that's what we're making them. This isn't true marshmallow, but it's marshmallow that is perfect for hot chocolates in a simple manner.
And they'll just be sitting in the fridge, and some people